Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Thunder Today YouTube channel. I am your host, Dylan Hibbard, and in today's video, we're going to go over who might be the most valuable trade asset for the Thunder going into next season if we decide to make moves around deadline or whatever that might be. Who will be the most valuable for us? We'll go into that. We'll also dive into more about Chet Holmgren's offseason and what really to expect from him in this upcoming season. We'll also talk about the Thunder's G League schedule being released. We'll look at that because there's a lot of players that we could be paying attention to that we would want to see play. So we'll get that schedule out. And then we'll at the end talk about our offseason and trade rumor stuff as well. But first off, going to talk about our most valuable trade asset. And for the Thunder, I really think there's, depending on what you value most and what certain teams value, that can kind of fluctuate depending on what the team's needs and values are. But for me, I think the three guys that you kind of think, at least that the Thunder would be willing to trade away and have a realistic shot of being traded away, the most valuable three guys that you have are Topic, Mitchell, and Sorber. Just because AJ Mitchell was a rookie last year, still very young, 21, 22 years old. You have Topic, who was a projected top 3 pick before the ACL injury. The Thunder were able to pick him up at 12, and now he's coming into his rookie year. And then you have Thomas Sorber, who you took at the end of the draft, this 2025 draft, and he's looking like a guy who the Thunder could kind of fit right into that Isaiah Hartenstein role, but if something comes up and maybe you trade Sorber, could be that. But for me, I think out of those three that you kind of look at and what teams would value the most, and especially in this day and age on what teams value on the shooting-wise, defensive things, and all of that, I don't know if Thomas Sorber's really going to be as valuable as these other two. I think he's still without a doubt going to be a very good player and a very good role player for the Thunder if he can turn into what we want him to be, in that defensive, athletic guy who can go out there and shot block like crazy, just like Chet, be able to rebound and really just guard multiple positions. And that's what the Thunder love to do. And out of Topic and Mitchell, it really becomes on what teams prefer. Topic, if teams want a guy who can handle the ball, drive in, be an elite passer, they're probably going to lean more that way. But for Mitchell, he seems like he's more of a score-first guy. He's not as well passing-wise, but he still has the handles. But for me, I think people would lean more A.J. Mitchell as the most valuable trade asset that the Thunder have, just because teams know what you could get out of Mitchell. Mitchell was out there last season and proving that he can do amazing things before that injury, and we just don't know what Topic will give us because of the ACL injury, and teams are going to be weary to see what Topic can provide before he goes out there. Maybe he goes out there and he's not able to. Maybe it's more of a Josh Giddey thing on OKC where he's just struggling beyond the three-point line, and it's just hard for him to get going. That trade value will diminish quite quickly. And on the A.J. Mitchell side of things, a guy who was able to provide for a championship team and got playoff minutes technically in these past postseason, didn't really provide big minutes, but was still out there, and a guy who really can take over an entire team and offense on that side of the ball. So for me, I really think A.J. Mitchell, out of those three, and realistically the Thunder who they would trade, I feel like A.J. Mitchell might be our most valuable asset. I don't know what an A.J. Mitchell and maybe a Kenrich and Isaiah Joe package with multiple picks could get us if we're feeling like maybe we're struggling and we need to go get somebody else, and maybe you go and do that. But for the time being, I think A.J. Mitchell is the Thunder's most valuable trade asset up to this point. Maybe that will change once Topic and Sorber get playing. Maybe one of them will go off like Mitchell did, and that trade value will skyrocket come trade deadline and beyond into the 2027 season. But now we'll transition into talking more about Chet Holmgren, and Chet's kind of been a main talking point of this offseason for the Thunder. Not only he's been posting so many offseason videos talking about how he wants to be healthy and how he was upset with himself that he wasn't healthy this past season, and he's talked on multiple occasions of how being healthy and being out there every single night is a big deal to him. And for last season to get that hip injury and be out for a third, if not more than closer to half the season, that really got to him. And I mean, this guy obviously gets hurt before his rookie year on that game with LeBron, and then his actual first rookie of the year plays all 82 and then gets injured. And he said throughout his off-season workouts, it's been a big focal point of making sure that hip mobility and everything, he's just more healthier coming up in this season. He even admitted that in this past off season, he wasn't as focused on staying healthy and recovery and all that, and he thinks that's partially why he got that hip injury. So now he's talking about and showing us videos on all of his socials, YouTube, TikTok, and all that. You guys can find it really anywhere around Thunder social media and stuff like that. But for Chet, I mean, it's really a big thing, and I've talked about it on this channel multiple times. I really think Chet is the key that holds this entire team together, which kind of sounds crazy, but for him, I think he's one of the top 3 shot blockers in the world. He's a guy that we could see before he got injured, he could go out there and average 20 and 12 on any given night, and he's already had such big moments, not only on the defensive side, but on the offensive side with that Warriors game turnaround game tying 3 in his rookie of the year, and he's just had so many big moments. I feel like he's the guy that kind of gets overlooked because J-Dub has taken that leap into the second best player and the second scorer on this team, and he deserves his flowers for doing that. But Chet, obviously, he's not going to wow you on the offensive side, but what we really got him was for that defensive anchor in the paint, and he's been nothing short of amazing for that. And I really believe if he was able to stay healthy this past season with Wemby getting injured as well, I think he could have very easily won Defensive Player of the Year over Evan Mobley. He was on track to average 3 blocks out there. He would have probably averaged around a steal and a half. And to be on a championship team like that, the Thunder would have ended up with the MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and a guy in the executive year and all of that. So for Chet, I mean, I really think if he takes that next leap into this all-star category and possibly top 25, 30 players in the league, it just makes the Thunder so much better, and it makes those contracts that we're giving out to J-Dub, Shea, and Chet in the 2027 season when those kick in. If you're able to go out there and he's an all-star, then that contract to start out doesn't look as crazy for some people. I know some people when that first came out, they were upset of how much we gave Chet, and partially to do with his health. But if he's out there, it's no question that he's one of the best defensive players out there. He's an instant lob threat with Shea. You can run that pick and roll, and I just really fully believe that he is the key that holds not only the defensive side of the ball, but he can really unlock so much more on the offensive side with the lob threat, being able to stretch the floor. If he can get closer to a 35-38% clip on the 3, that's just going to make the Thunder that much more terrifying because you have a guy who's 7'1" and can shoot on the perimeter, and it really just adds so much to the Thunder, and that's why I feel like Chet is kind of the key and glue that holds this team together. And now we'll kind of transition into talking about the OKC Thunder's G League schedule being released. And for the G League, they will start their season on the road November 7th, and it'll go through April 26th, including a lot of different road trips and homestands, including the game where they will be playing at the Tulsa BOK Center for people that are more local or in that Tulsa area. If you want to go watch them, I mean, the Thunder will have plenty of players that could contribute throughout the regular season to the actual Oklahoma City Thunder. You instantly think of a guy like Brooks Barnhizer, who we saw in the Summer League, really go off and be a guy that the Thunder have considered putting on the regular OKC roster. And you're going to have guys like that fluctuate throughout the season and all that. But I think he's one of the main guys you're going to look at. Depending on how we start the season, you could see a guy like Topic down there. I don't necessarily think he would ever be down there for that long, but maybe you could catch him down there for a game or two. And then you have guys like Brandon Carlson and guys like that who will be down there, and just a lot of high-quality play. We've, in the past, seen Ousmane Dieng out there, and now he's a part of the Oklahoma City Thunder. So just really a lot of different moving parts with the Oklahoma City Thunder Blue. They won the championship a couple years back, so they're looking to go out there and continue to show the Thunder's development and make it even harder on the front office and Mark Dagnall to make decisions on trying to get guys playing time for that. But we'll kind of transition now and wrap up the video talking about a quick trade rumor that we could see happen in the regular season, depending on how the Magic feel about their chances and the Thunder, and that would be Jalen Suggs. Obviously, Jalen Suggs has ties to Chet Holmgren with their time in high school. They played with each other in Minneapolis. And Jalen Suggs just fits the role of what the Thunder like to do, a guard that plays really, really good on-ball defense and doesn't necessarily shoot the greatest, but he can go out there and give you buckets on a nightly basis. And he would be a guy, though, if the Thunder wanted to trade for, you would have to give up guys like a Mitchell, Topic, Isaiah Joe, Kenrich picks on top of that. You would kind of have to package a decent package together to kind of get the Magic looking on it. But if the Magic are struggling a bit more than they want to in the Eastern Conference, and maybe Suggs is struggling a bit, and maybe the Thunder can get him on a bit lower of value because he is struggling, and they could develop him into what they want to. But it's just kind of something to kind of look out for in the future. If the Magic are struggling, maybe a guy like Suggs could be on the Thunder's radar. But that'll be it for me today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. It helps out the channel so much. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.